I have here another piece of ordnance that can be encountered around the world. This is a Soviet, now Russian, PMN-2 anti-personnel mine. This is a blast type mine, not fragmentation. Now, these entered service, it looks like sometime in the late 70s, early 1980s. I can't get it pinned down to an exact year. Tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of these mines have been produced, not just in Russia and the former Soviet Union, but I have a suspicion that there is a plant in the Middle East that is producing some of these also, because some of the mines that are being encountered, at least in the Middle East, they're not green colored like this. They're brown colored, and it looked like they had Arabic writing on the side. So that to me tells me that those were probably made somewhere in the Middle East. Where exactly, I'm not sure. It could be somewhere in Pakistan, could be somewhere in Egypt. I would lean more towards Egypt personally. Now, some technicals on this. It is a plastic bodied mine, and the pressure plate on here is rubber. Now, the height of the mine is 2 inches. Diameter of the mine is 4 3/4 inches. Total weight of the mine is 15 ounces, less than a pound, really lightweight. Actual explosive content is 3.5 ounces of an explosive called TG40. This is a mix of TNT and RDX. And even though it is TNT and RDX, this explosive is extremely stable. I watched some videos of people trying to set these off by shooting at them, and they just couldn't do it. You have to actually get a hit directly onto the booster charge or the detonator to set it off, and it is not easy to do because both of those are very small in comparison to the rest of the mine. As you can see with my hand next to it, this thing is not very big. It's larger than an American PMN or American M14, but it's still a really small mine. These mines are blast resistant, which means they were designed to not get set off when it gets hit by a mine clearing line charge, a Miklik, or the lighter version, the APOPs. These can be hand emplaced or mechanically emplaced, and when they're mechanically emplaced, they can be laid out with the PMR-1 or PMR-2 or PMR-4 trailers. They get armed, then they get put onto the chute. By the time they go down into the ground or laid on the ground, the arming time has already gone through and the mine is active. These mines can be used in wet grounds such as swampy grounds, but because of its light weight, it is not recommended to use them somewhere where you're going to have a lot of water action. Don't put them on beaches, don't lay them in stream beds or rivers, because they will get swept away. If you put them on the shoreline of a lake, they're probably going to get swept away also because they are extremely buoyant. There was a note on that with the Russian sappers. Temperature range for this mine is -40 degrees up to 122 degrees Fahrenheit. And that does play with the arming on these mines. These are packed inside a wooden crate, and it says 24 mines to the crate. Now, these mines, everything is self-contained inside. Unlike most anti-personnel mines, you do not have to put in a detonator or a booster or a fuse to activate the mine. It's all already inside, sealed inside. On the side here, this is where the safety key, that's the best way to describe it. The safety key is located when the mine shows up. There are other plugs on here, on the mine, the bottom and the sides, but those other plugs, notes are from EOD, they are sealed in with glue. They cannot be removed easily. The only way you can actually access the mine really is through here with the safety key. And since I mentioned a safety key, show you a picture of it right here. This is an unarmed PMN-2. This is the safety key right there. Now, to arm the mine, you just go through, turn the safety key either clockwise or counterclockwise, does not matter. And then when it gets to a point that you can pull the key off of the mine, you've started the arming process. Now what happens when you're turning the safety key, that breaks a copper shear wire inside the mine here. I'm going to show down here. The copper shear wire breaks, allowing this little bellows here to start filling with air. Now as that little bellows fills with air, it raises a little bit of a safety bar here, which then allows the detonator to get pushed forward into position. Now the arming time is 30 seconds at around 100 degrees Fahrenheit. It's around 300 seconds at negative 40 degrees Fahrenheit. So just like we've seen with other Russian mines, the colder it is, the longer it takes to arm. So anywhere from half a minute to 5 minutes. Once the detonator goes forward, the mine is armed. Then all it takes is pressure onto the pressure plate here of 17.5 pounds to a max of 55 pounds. That probably has to deal with the age of the mine and also the temperatures also. Pressure up here puts pressure on this little part right here. This is a mine that's been opened up. Now, when the pressure plate goes down, this gets pushed down. The detonator is already in position here. When this gets pushed down, it frees a firing pin on this side, which is spring-loaded, to shoot forward, hit the detonator. The detonator is located right over the top or right next to a booster charge, which is right here, and this location on the mine. See, safety key, turn. This location is where the booster charge is. So safety pin comes, the firing pin comes forward, sets off the detonator, sets off the booster, and sets off the explosive charge here. Now, how to disarm these mines? They can't. The Russian military says these are not designed to be disarmed. Now, I know someone's going to be a smart ass. They're going to say, well, there's their video of the guy in Vietnam or Cambodia of him disarming these mines. He's not really disarming it. He's disassembling it. I've seen that video. And the Russian sappers, according to their websites, they don't even know why the person is dumb enough to try doing that, because the chance of him setting off the mine is extremely high, what they said. Once these are armed, they're armed forever until they get set off or destroyed. Now, to destroy these mines, because they're blast resistant, you can't just set a charge on top and guarantee it's going to set off the mine. You're actually supposed to, and this is according to EOD, the side opposite that the safety key is on, so safety key is over here, the side opposite that is where the explosive is. You have to put the charge to destroy this mine near that explosive. So either right over the side, so here's where the key would be, so right over this edge over here, or right next to it on this side, to detonate the explosive inside and set it off. Now, I did watch a video of someone in Russia playing with these, to see if he could set them off. He tried shooting at them, throwing rocks at them, bricks at them. He could not get them to go off without putting pressure directly onto the pressure plate and putting it on the center here to set it off, not just one of the wings on the side. It had to be on the center. So these things are very hard to destroy if you're trying to do it with any method other than the way it's actually set to go off. Now, the explosive charge on this is just like with the PMN-1. There's less of it, but it has the same effects. It's going to take off the lower half of your leg, or it's going to shatter the bones all the way through the leg. Depending on how you're standing, it could send a chunk of leg bone from the bottom part of your leg straight up into your face and kill you. But it is designed to rip apart at least one leg. If the other leg is nearby, it's going to seriously mess that up also. Just double checking here. That is all the information that I have on this. These are found pretty much everywhere around the world. The Russians actually had a thing in their website. They said if a country took an AK-47, they would take a PMN mine. So anywhere the AKs have been sent by the Russian military or the former Soviet military, if they took rifles, they probably took some mines, PMNs and PMN-2s. Are there improved versions of this out there? Yes, there are other versions. And hopefully someday I can convince someone to make me a replica like he did with this one. These are nasty little buggers. I do want to say something here. I did talk to some guys who did demining in Afghanistan who came across these. And they said they found a lot of hang fires when they were clearing these from minefields. And they said the problem was in here with this essentially double plunger system, if you want to think it that way. There were problems where the detonator wouldn't go far enough forward for whatever reason, so that when the mine was activated, the firing pin would come shooting across and it would not hit the primer on the detonator to set it off. So you had a hang fire. And they said it was not uncommon that it's at that point where it's just short of going off, that then if something hits the mine, it's dropped or something, then you run the risk that the mine would go off. They also talked about around Kandahar airfield, when the initial combat engineers that came in were clearing the minefields around Kandahar. They literally came in with dozers, bulldozed the top like 18 inches of soil away from where the minefields were, and pushed that soil together. They didn't mess with the mines. They just cleared the area so that they could put in tents and buildings. Well, someone in their infinite wisdom, an officer, seen those giant mountains of sand and dirt on the edge of the airfield and said, why are we wasting that? Let's use that to fill the HESCO barriers around the perimeter. And deminers told me that it was not uncommon during the summer months when the temperatures were getting really high, 120s plus, 130s, that you would hear just random explosions going off on the perimeter. And what was going off were these mines inside the HESCO barriers, inside all the dirt in there. They just got so hot that they literally cooked off. And that's probably why you have a max temp range of around 122 degrees Fahrenheit. So there you go. The Russian PMN-2. Extremely simple to emplace. Each mine is self-contained. All you do, turn the safety key one way or another, and to the point that you can remove the key. That starts the arming process, and the mine is ready to go. These can be buried in the ground. They can be surface laid. If you're burying it in the ground, obviously you're going to dig the hole. Make sure that the dirt comes up. The top of the hole is probably up to around here. You know, just below the top of the pressure plate. Give yourself at least half that distance. You're then going to go through, arm it, put it in a hole, camouflage it. If it's surface lay, clear the space on the ground where it's going to go, arm it, set it down, weave the vegetation over the top so that your target can step on it. Now, for all my engineer brothers in the Patriot and militia movements, always remember essay-ons.